but soon he will learn manners. I will torture his body so that his soul learns to be humble.
Okay, he know we just talking here, right? I mean, we just getting people interested in...
Cage against the machine.
215. Woo. Straight Philly.
I mean,
how do I get access to some of this stuff, man? I need new music.
Just text me and I'll send it to you. Because Sweet don't
Apple
pay for music.
Yeah, I was about to say, because Brett is a wizard.
But I don't do Apple Music either. That's why. Who else do we need to shout out before we start? I would like to shout out one of our sponsors by the name of Eli. And Eli sponsored by buying me UFC 3. And I did not know that he was doing that. He sent it to me and I said, can I pay you for it? He said, no, just keep putting out great podcasts.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
thank you for helping my habit. It's great. Even though, as DeShawn pointed out, I did not know that I had to be a black belt in martial arts to play this game.
Hey, you can get beaten.
Yeah, like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Like,
crushed
do
on
you
that game.
do you have to be like a football coach to play Madden? No, but why do you have to be a mixed martial artist to be?
You know what? You know what's
terrible
interesting?
in
You know
UFC
what's
3?
interesting? Now it's starting to get to the point though where you do actually need to have some type of football knowledge in order to play Madden, which is the reason why I smash people.
Got it. Okay, fair.
It's starting to get that way.
Yeah, the
Fair.
plays.
But I will say this: the submission on UFC 3 is absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, that's
However,
It
you
needs
can
some work.
change it. You can change
even
it.
the easy one is hard.
Well, the
Button masher
yeah,
one,
the one
that
button.
one is still
The
confusing.
I have never been happy with the submission.
Yeah, it's
stuff on
been-
games,
yeah, it's
but
terrible.
Here's the way to think about the problem. As a game designer, you have two camps that are going to argue all day about it. You have people who want to play the game, and then you have jiu-jitsu people who everything is a chess game to them, right?
Yeah.
And that does not translate
Yeah.
to a video game where you mash buttons. It just doesn't. So there's a design problem. The next shout out I want to give, and I want to be positive about it because we've spent many podcasts pleading for this moment. It's finally happened. I woke up the other day to my Instagram announcing that Rashad Sugar Evans has retired. And I can't.
Which I told you it was around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, it's bittersweet. I think we've spent the last 2-3 years begging
Maybe
this.
3, yeah.
Not to be funny about it,
Yeah.
not to be mean, but really loving this dude and admiring him and looking up to him, even though he's younger than us, and asking for a release because every time you see him fight, you're like, yo, I am so terrified of seeing you get hurt.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't want another Muhammad Ali moment, right?
Yeah,
Where you
and-
see this beautiful
Right.
human and he can't finish a sentence or a sandwich. So I'm relieved to see it. I see the post that he made and how it's traveled the world and people are really looking at it. And I'm really happy to say that we're at that moment and I want to celebrate his decision because,
Absolutely.
this is the moment where everybody tries to kick you when you're down. And I just, on to the next with this guy and I hope for the best with him. So those are our standards.
Yeah, it's like the same thing we went through with BJ Penn, like just seeing him get beat up at the end of his career over and over again. It's not fun. And to know that Rashad has that avenue to go and be on the couch in the Fox Sports room, and as they transition to ESPN,
Right.
hopefully he gets one of them
Or
seats because the
NBC.
dude, his outlook on the aspect and his insight to the fights is not only great, but he's hilarious while he does it. You know what I mean?
He's great. And then he deserves to be there. He's really he's got a cohort around him in the sort of UFC staff that he needs to be
Well,
around.
two spots are already gone because of Ariel Helwani and Chael Sonnen. So
But are they going to put them on the broadcast, or is that just their?
more than likely. That is what I am being told because I was trying to put my name in that hat. So
I thought Hawani got picked up.
he
But,
did.
Yeah, by ESPN.
Oh, yeah.
But NBC is also a part of that deal. So there might be an NBC opening.
I just want to say for the record, I've always said to this guy over here that Ariel Helwani works for Dana White on some Vince McMahon stuff, and if you never ever needed confirmation before, there it is. How do you get fired and rehired at the new deal?
Right.
That guy.
Well, that's because he doesn't
Yeah.
work for Dana White. He works for the entities individually.
Right, but the same thing. He worked for Fox, and then he helped Fox, and Dana helped Fox get him fired, and then he worked for ESPN. So at the time he got fired from Fox, it was right when Dana realized that Fox wasn't working out. I really think that guy is his troll. I think that
Okay.
I really believe he really works from all the crying and all that stuff.
Well,
I don't
that would
buy
be
it.
hard. That would be hard because you could lose your credibility as a journalist.
Yeah, but I mean,
So, I mean,
Who is-
literally your career would be at
Hey,
risk if that was the case.
you know, this is not a really good year for journalism credibility. Is it? You know what I mean?
no, but
It's not like everybody's like, gee,
with
the news
sports-
has been so accurate lately.
But with sports, it's different.
yeah,
It is a
that's-
different world.
Do we
it-
have to be credible here?
Different world.
Than where you come from. Do we have to be credible here? That's a question.
Yes.
Are we journalists?
In a sense,
In
yes.
a sense. Great.
Especially,
That's good
You
to
know,
know.
journalism.
or at least,
Okay.
or at least I'll put it this way: when I travel to Vegas,
Okay.
the fighters consider me a journalist. I'll put it that way.
When he shows up in LV, fighters show him love.
Pretty much.
When he goes to CA, fighters show him love. When he's all up in the club,
Them fighters definitely show me love.
okay,
But it's mainly the ladies. Now, the ladies are a different deal.
lady fighters. Huh? Lady fighters?
Nah, man, it's the damn groupies.
We can't talk about that on air.
Nah, we can't.
For those who are just tuning in, we are Cage Against the Machine, the premier MMA podcast that brings together the things we care about. Technology,
Yeah.
martial arts,
Hell yeah.
African culture,
Definitely.
Wow.
nerd culture, wellness,
Yep. All that.
Tacos.
tacos, chicken wings, and of course, I used to call it Golden Age, 90s, but let's just say very potent, true to the culture, hip-hop references.
Yes,
Is
indeed.
that fair?
And definitely true to the culture R&B references. You're going to get them
yes,
too.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Yes, I should have said the R&B. I'm sorry.
Oh, but hip hop is true too.
And some power rock ballads. We'll throw a little bit in there.
Oh, okay.
Just a little bit.
Well, that
Just a little bit.
yeah, I mean, that would be you. I don't know.
You do it too. You sang some Journey up on here.
did?
You did.
When? I did?
Okay. Now,
When did that happen?
I did?
if you're not familiar, I am the SweetMBA. I am joined by,
The evil doctor, J.K. Akins.
as well as,
MikeyMoTheMC, baby.
and our original co-founder.
Brain damaged.
So we're going to talk about UFC 2226. And let me frame why this is really important.
2226.
2226.
227 is the place to be.
Yeah.
Marla Gibbs and the family. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Why is this an important card? Well, let's give some background. If you watch UFC and you've been watching since the rebirth that has happened, the era since Tough and whatnot, July has typically always been the biggest fights that set the tone for the year.
The
Yes.
International Fight Week, ladies and gentlemen.
They started branding it as International Fight Week.
The halftime
We might,
show.
well, yeah, if we could call it, it might be the NBA Finals.
Yes.
It might be the Super Bowl.
Yes.
The Stanley Cup.
Yes.
This is the month where the fights and the championships really set the tone, and it all goes back to really the fights that were happening in the beginning of the middleweight division's rebirth with Anderson Silva.
Right.
In that time, and it's evolved. So we have a huge card because history is going to be made in a lot of ways in this card, and we're going to talk about it as always. We'll go through our prelims. We'll go into the main card. We'll give you our picks, and we'll have some other moments to discuss.
In the words of one Sean Carter, it gets better. We ordered another round. It's about to go down.
It's about to go down.
damn.
Man, you make me feel like I might be graduating college again.
I don't know if we got 6 bottles of Chris, though. Or
Or
Belvedere.
6 model chicks.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you one thing. I wish I never met her at all. Just, I want my life back. All right. So we're
The
gonna
only
get.
question is, did you love her so though?
Were we having that combo?
Did
about
she
him?
have love for you? I mean, I'm just asking.
We had that combo. Never be the same again. Our first fight, Paul Felder, the Irish Dragon, versus Mike Perry, Platinum. Little background on this situation first before we start. Paul Felder, incredible kickboxer, Muay Thai extraordinaire under the tutelage of
One Duke Rufus.
Rufus.
right, an amazing camp, training partner of the Pettis brothers, as well as Tyron Woodley. Amazing stand and bang kind of guy. Versus Mike Perry, who I believe he moved up for this and has tried to make his name on trolling and talking. Now, let's do some background real quick, because this is Cage against the Machine. Not Cage with the Machine, not Cage for the Machine, not Cage
I'm definitely always against
co-signing the machine, Cage against the Machine. Platinum Mike Perry had a little bit of controversy in his debut fight because he was fighting a Vietnamese fighter, and his corner said the guy's eyes were too slanty to actually see him. He was given a pass because the trainer claimed he meant that the damage was there. Recently, Mike Perry put a post up that he had did an Ancestry.com sort of study and found out that he was 2 to 4% of African descent, which allowed him to use the special N-word.
Tripping.
Wait. Stop.
You thought he could come with M.
So I put some notes about this. My thought
said
about
that?
this, he said this. This is on the internet. My thought was
I
that
missed this.
if you would like to use the N-word, we have a clinic that we'd like you to sign up for a workshop to do, which consists of you transferring $10,000 to our PayPal, as well as you will get many repeated blows to the face and the mouth that you cannot respond to.
Right.
Over and over again. You will be spit on. You will be barred from voting for 5 years. You will do at least 2 years of a felony that you didn't even commit. You will be accused of a rape that you were nowhere near. And on top of which, you will not be allowed to buy a house anywhere in your neighborhood. And then you, too, can use the N-word. But until then, watch your mouth, Mr. Perry.
And it's really just this simple. You can't join in. You have to be born in.
We're like ever seen American Me? You know? You gotta get beat in. You know?
I found out I'm like 4% Irish, but I'm sure they're not gonna welcome me in the pub like that. So
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. You know, you ever see those statues?
Well, when
The
I
nose-
walk
the
in,
nose
though-
kind of looks like you.
but when I walk in, they gonna be looking at me like,
You'd be surprised, man.
what are you doing?
Well, I'm 100% Mozambican, so I don't really.
Either way, just stay in your lane, Mike Perry. Even though I think you're gonna win this fight, you still better stay in your lane.
He kept it focused. I appreciate that. Mike Perry, if he keeps it grappling, this was a surprise because this was originally supposed to be Yancy Medeiros. And I'm really disappointed because, you know, I love my Hawaiian by the way of Stockton. So, in my opinion, Felder is the better striker.
Yes.
Clearly.
Perry has more power, but you know, Medeiros going down with that broken rib was unfortunate. But this is a short notice fight. But Felder was in camp to fight the week after on the 14th against James Vick, and when Vick moved up to fight Gagey.
Right.
When,
That's who the move up was.
Yeah.
Right,
So
right.
Felder was without opponent. So when Medeiros went down, Felder's usually a 155er. So this is like a good move for him because you fight a week early, but now you don't have to cut that extra 15 pounds, and you are already in camp. So it's not like you're taking it on short notice and just
Especially with
out
the
of nowhere.
change and weigh-ins. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Felder on this one because if he can weather that storm of Perry's power, I think, you know, and he's a tough guy. I think he'll do it. His gas tank is way better, you know. So I think Felder will outlast him.
I still think Perry gonna end up catching him because I think these boys are just gonna come out running wild like Hulkamania.
Hogan, we
And,
come.
And I think and when them running wild like that, I just feel like Perry's gonna end up catching them early.
Okay.
Yeah, that's that storm that he has to weather that
So-
early.
Yeah.
I think what we've agreed is that this ends up in knockout. The question is who knocks who out. It's
Well,
early knockout.
This is where the two fighters separate.
Yeah,
Paul Felder is more technical than Mike Perry.
absolutely.
So I think what you're going to see is you're going to see if Mike Perry tries to come over the top with the right hand or tries to use the jab, Paul Felder is going to counter with leg kicks. Jab, he's probably going to go inside. Overhand right or right hand cross, he's going to go outside. So I think Mike Perry does not have the ability to switch stances. So that front leg is going to get worn out.
I also think there's tells that Felder will not give away that Perry will, and that his ability to judge the range is going to be compromised because he's going to be baited a lot of times and leave his chin out.
And what I expect is for that inside leg kick that Paul Felder will eventually land, I expect that leg kick to be right on the inside of the quadricep. And he's going to hit that spot over and over again. So Perry has to knock Felder out quick.
Yeah.
Because if this
Yeah.
fight even gets anywhere near the second round, he won't be walking straight.
Agreed?
Yep.
Right.
All righty. Moving on to our next fight, we have Jamie Moyle. Who might, well, she is precious when she's not spending time helping out the Guardians of the Galaxy, against Emily Spitfire Whitmere. If memory serves me correct, Emily Whitmere just came into the UFC in a recent tough.
Is it?
Was she on the tough with the flyweights? Or am I wrong?
I am not certain.
Yeah,
I did
I'm not
not
sure.
catch
With a
that
2-2
one.
The name
record,
does
it
sound
looks
a little
familiar.
familiar.
But I will tell you this.
Yeah.
Whitmire is not skilled enough to win this fight.
She looks like a marketing manager.
I was gonna say she looks
Like,
like
when you
someone
call the
from
set of constant
HR.
contact.
She looks like someone from HR for sure.
I hate you. She does. Ah, she does.
She does look like she's straight. Like she looks like you get an email from her. You're like, oh man,
Man.
Emily sent me.
If we
another
keep it,
email.
yeah, if we keep it real, we keep it real. Jamie versus Emily does look like a big ass beef in the break room. I mean, she told her how to spell her
kept-
name.
Yeah, check this out.
I told
Check
her
this out.
Emily
not to
with the
steal
E,
my
not a
smoothie.
Y.
Jamie
Hey, this girl, I
Jamie
told you
is
not to put that on
from
my business
Jamie
card.
is from Acquisitions.
Right. I told you. Hey, look at that face. I told you we already had paper clips. I
I
told
put
you.
my name on my lunch every time, and she
Absolutely.
still eats it.
Leave my stapler alone. It's going
Nah,
down.
see, Jamie, she from Acquisitions.
That's-
So she the hard chick that be like, that come in there with the power Donna Karen suit.
Right.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, listen, the next time
Right.
you foul up my name on on that email, there
Right.
will be consequences and
But
repercussions.
Emily don't care. Look at her eyes. She
Hey,
don't
look,
care.
she came in there like, look, listen, Emily, either you do the doc you sign or I'm going to rock your eye. Okay?
See me at happy hour.
See me.
My name is
See me.
Spitfire because I'm gonna have 2 shots of Fireball and be ready for you outside.
Right. See, this is what happens when Equinox start letting these people enroll in kickboxing classes. They start feeling themselves, and we get this result. So I don't know anything about these two. They just added this fight. And Jamie, are you wearing a lace front?
Yeah, Jamie's only win was against my Hawaiian Kaylin Curran.
Did
I'm gonna say she needs this win to
Okay.
be on not on my bad side.
I'm gonna tell you, I don't mean to just base it off of looks, but Jamie looks too cute to win this one.
Oh,
She doesn't look mean
you
enough to me.
Stop now. Stop while you're ahead.
Hey, but her
Stop
numbers,
while you're
her
ahead.
numbers don't
Mean
look
enough.
cute.
Because
numbers don't look
Mikey
cute.
Mo, the MC, we gonna have this conversation later.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that's why
Emily
I remember.
looks meaner.
That's why I know it. Emily Whitmire actually trains under
Randy Couture.
and
I don't know.
#1 female wrestler,
Shit.
Misha Tate. That's her disciple. Now I
Oh.
recognized her. Yep.
Oh, that's
Remember?
Misha
It is
Tate's-
Misha's
Yeah,
girl,
see,
huh?
I'm with Emily. There we go.
No, but she ain't.
I'm still with Emily.
Her hands aren't there yet. She's gonna get submitted.
She is not skilled enough to
Her
win
hands
this
aren't
fight.
there, man. I'm telling you.
Point blank,
Did
period.
you see that season?
No.
Bruh. I mean, just the numbers
I'm
don't
just
lie.
going off of looks, though. I mean, even
Of course you are. Of course you are.
mean,
Emily looks like that
Jamie's-
singing girl on The Walking Dead.
Cage Cousins. I know that we had this conversation before, but I feel it necessary to say this again. Gentlemen, stop making your picks off looks. You sound ridiculous.
I don't know if you know this, but we're from America. We do style over substance. We don't really go to the deep end of the pool. We are superficial. And
yeah. We go
now,
off
but now that I
looks,
say it, I look
Ladies
at
and
her,
gentlemen.
I look at her face. She's
Ladies
like
and gentlemen.
she's judging me like I can't believe you.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you see what I go through now? Do you guys finally understand my pain?
Hey, keep
I
it
know
real.
some of y'all think that I am a serious jackass, but now do you understand the pain that I go through?
Emily's going to be writing us a seriously thought out email.
I should have given
In
you guys
all
a different
capitals.
intro.
I
Cage
really
Against the
feel
Machine
like-
is sort of like the Muppets, the balcony on the Muppets meets mixed martial arts. One last point. That looks like that's going to be the illest hot yoga class I've ever been to.
Oh my god.
So I think your vote is with Moyle, right?
Yes.
Okay. By the way, you know what a moil is in Yiddish, in Hebrew?
Well, why don't you tell me, Mr. Sweet?
A moil is the doctor who comes and performs the circumcision.
Oh no.
So it's probably likely that Moyle will cut off the useless piece of meat known as Emily Whitmire. Who are you picking?
I'm going Moyle. Like I said, she beat Caitlin Curran.
might
If
be
you
too
can't
old
beat
for that.
nobody else, you got to get
You
another
said you're
win.
going Moyle? You might be too old for that. Get infected. How about you?
I'm still going with the evil HR lady.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm still going with
I
Spitfire.
agree.
Spitfire, we gonna do this.
Marketing coordinator versus HR. Let's go.
You're
Next
right.
fight.
We're gonna
He's
fail
only
miserably.
going with Spitfire because he spits hot fire.
Speaking of such moments that don't add up, we have Lando Groovy Venata versus Drakkar Close. Now, before I go and start, are you sure?
Drakkar. It's Drakkar.
No. You remember those commercials from the 90s?
The Drakkar Noir.
You know, was it a new Michael Jackson video? Is it the circus coming to town? Is it the sequel to Return of the Jedi? Oh, it's a cologne commercial. And it's like black with red. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
the Sith got their own cologne. This is great. Drakkar Noir. You ever peep out? I'm not trying to diss, but you ever peep out like Sean John, like Puffy stole all that?
Yeah.
Like his whole
Take
marketing
that,
is
take
just
that,
to steal.
That's Puffy. Yeah, take that. Take that.
No, but the whole like Sean John, like
He
the
took
way he
everything.
advertises the clothes, it's all that dark Drakkar Noir mystery stuff.
Yep.
Hey, but man, as a guy who's got a suit full of Sean John suits, though, them joints are dope.
Hey,
Yeah, but the zippers.
and
Take that, take that.
DKNY and Jones
take
New
that.
York.
Take that. Take that.
That's why I like this brother. Suit
Take
game.
that. Take
You
that.
know,
We
it's
do
tight.
fabrics. We be talking fabrics, son.
Bad boy, baby.
I got
Never plaid in my closet, son.
I got over the shoe addiction and I moved into suits.
Bad boy.
Lando Venata, what an interesting story. One of my favorite kickboxing strikers. His ability to do a high roundhouse to a spinning side kick and finish it up with a leg kick is perfection.
Personified.
Oh my God, if you're into striking, you want to look like him. However, he's had these great moments and then he's also had wars that I don't know he's recovered from yet. He also trains out of Albuquerque by the
New
famous,
Mexico.
by the famous
Jackson
Wood.
Winklejohn.
Meanwhile, his neighbor here, Drakkar Close, trains out of the MMA lab.
Does he now?
And he has his boy just had a great moment on Dana White's
Contender series?
Contender Series. What are you talking about?
Okay.
So interesting. His wrestling looks really good. Seems like he's got fire hands. This is going to be a really good fight that I don't think anybody is really expecting. But I do believe that Lando's experience, if he has recovered properly, is going to be the deciding factor. So I'm going to give it to Lando by decision. I'm also rooting for Londo because Londo sounds like Lando, and I was so excited about Solo, but it looked like it was Boo Boo, so I would root for that Lando, not the Lando.
This
Moving on.
guy. This guy. I don't know. I think this fight is going to be interesting from the standpoint of what Close chooses to do to counter Venata's ability to kick. And the only thing that you can do is close the distance, because if you're at a distance and you're within range of a roundhouse or a side kick or a heel hook or a crescent kick, that's where it becomes dangerous because you're in Venata's world at that point. So Close cannot be at a distance. Ironically, he has to be close in order to win the fight. So, and it's always interesting to see this type of element because if I recall correctly, Close is a wrestler, correct?
Yeah.
See, there you go.
Which is a large majority of the MMA lab.
It is. It is.
Right?
It is. But because let's face it, it's not like he is talking about Close here. He's not Benson Henderson level.
No.
So when you are a guy like a Close, what do you do as a wrestler? And then on the other hand of it, Venata's got to be weary of the wrestling to some degree. Right. So what do you do to still get off on one of your biggest weapons, which is your ability to kick? Right. At some point, one or the other is going to have to sell out on their greatest strength. Close has to be careful because if he closes the distance too quickly without coming off some type of combination or some way to set up his takedown, he can get caught by a knee.
Right.
Or for that matter, some type of uppercut, be it lead or rear. So you have to be the chess match in this is going to be interesting. And of course, we know game plan MMA, which is where Venata comes out of. I'm going to take Venata out of decision. Okay. But I'm a little leery of how this fight is going to go.
Right.
Very leery, actually.
I'm going to say you had me at Lando.
Hey, don't let the smooth taste fool you.
I'm going with Lando because
Seriously.
Yeah, Lando's striking is definitely way more flashy and unorthodox. Jakar is a more methodical pace guy. So I agree with the good doctor that, my thing was that he's going to have to close the distance. If he can do that, I think he wins the decision. But my heart, I root for the flashy strikers. I just love a good knockout. So I'm hoping Venata can get a second round KO.
You're not watching the sport to be bored, right?
Right, exactly.
watching it to see violence.
Moving on to our next fight.
I watch it for the chess match, but that's just me.
Which, how could I not be excited? Dan the Hangman Hooker. Kia ora, mate. New Zealand is in the house, baby. Kiwi power versus Gilbert Dorino Burns. Did I do it right?
Dorino.
I've been eating a lot of rosemary and
Dorino.
cutting steak off of a pole to get my accent right.
I got you. I'm
actually going to start drinking my own pee and shooting steroids soon, too.
Okay, I see you, Leota Machida.
I figured since we're going in stereotypes, I would go all the way.
I mean, why not?
If that's the case, I'm doing a shoe beer after this.
You doing what?
A shoe beer.
Out of whose shoe?
Okay.
Whose shoe? Mine.
This fight seems complex.
See what I mean?
It's not that deep. I'm obviously biased because this is my guy on multiple levels. And we know what he's trying to do. We know his Muay Thai and his Sancho is pretty incredible. We also know his training partner is the style bender. So we know the jiu-jitsu is there. But he doesn't need necessarily to keep the jiu-jitsu in the same way because you got to give hats off to Gilbert Burns, okay?
Right.
A very accomplished, dangerous Brazilian jiu-jitsu master.
And may I point out the very non-Brazilian Portuguese name ever.
Right.
I know, right? Gilbert Burns.
Like his parents are like, you're going to get into this country. Gilbert. So he has really evolved, and you got to give him kudos. His tutelage under Henry Hoof, working with Michael Johnson, working with Luke Rockhold, working with Rashad. He's really added a layer of, he's winning his fights by knockout now.
Right. Yes.
This is not his first forte, and he's doing incredible stuff.
But
However,
it's those things when those grappling guys start to get those knockouts and then they fall in love with it.
Right.
And then you can get in dangerous
tell you how
trouble
it's
when
gonna
you're
go,
fighting
too.
a guy that's their specialty.
I'm going to tell you how it's going to go. He's going to find that he's not able to get the range he wants. He's going to get frustrated, and he's going to throw a heavy hand and use it to try to reach for a takedown. And it's going to turn into a clinch. And the clinch is going to turn to a knee that connects with his chin, and he's going to wake up like, what do you mean I lost?
Nice.
Third round knockout. Daniel Hooker will win. I don't understand why this is on the early prelims. It's kind of disrespectful, but I'm moving on. Thoughts?
I put Dan by decision,
Okay.
but I feel like pretty much majority of everything you said is what I was thinking. The same thing.
Yep.
I got Burns by decision completely for the fact that I think in this fight he's gonna start to get caught by Hooker, and then he's gonna remember, oh yeah, my specialty used to be having these guys on the ground, and then he's gonna go back to that, and then
I think it's going to be too late. You know what? Based off like what you said, I think it's going to go similar to that. But by the time that Burns decides to get it together, it'll be too late by then.
Could be.
And Hooker won by decision. That's why I chose that.
Now, these two fighters are extremely evenly matched.
Yeah.
This is probably one of, in my opinion, Sean Shelby's best job ever. Because they are so evenly matched, this fight could go in an array of ways. It is going to be dependent upon which fighter makes the mistake first.
Right.
Okay.
And then it becomes a cascade effect.
Exactly. I am going to take Dan Hooker by decision reluctantly.
Okay.
Well,
Because these two fighters are so evenly matched, and because I personally believe that this fight will be based on a mistake,
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if Burns wins by submission or knockout. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. But I am going to stick with Hooker by decision.
Well, if that happens, I will be texting you and I will be saying very unfriendly things about you. We're going to take a break, everybody. Pay some bills. We'll be back. We're Cage Against the Machine. I am SweetMBA. I'm joined by
The evil doctor, J.K. Akins.
as well as,
MikeyMoTheMC.
and of course,
Brainiac.
everything that you are hearing, seeing, and experiencing is brought to you by DeShawn Davis and Dream Air Productions, live and now on the Dream Podcast Network. We'll be right back at you.
This is Tyson Griffin.
Sean Bunch.
Myron the Hitman Smith.
Jordan the Juggernaut Powell.
Mauricio Alonso. Shout out to Cage Against the Machine, MMA Podcast, MMA Fantasy League for you.
You Google him right now, because I'm about to Google him.
Oh yeah. So
Do you?
within the break, the breaking news is that young Hawaiian princess Alamale McFarlane, Bellator 125 champion, defeated Alejandra Lara, third round armbar to defend her championship title. And Valerie Letourneau used to fight in the UFC. Also won her fight on that card, and apparently they're trying to pair those two up, and McFarlane is calling for Hawaii Bellator. So is Bellator going to take advantage and get to Hawaii before the UFC does? Didn't they do that with Madison Square Garden?
They tried, but no.
I think they were there first, weren't they?
No.
I think they did go first.
They did, but look at
No,
the numbers.
but
they failed though.
Yeah,
but
miserable.
the UFC went to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn
first.
first.
And
So-
and the UFC got
Yeah.
MMA in.
And every time they go, there's some controversy. New
Well,
York.
Well,
didn't
that's
get it
that's the state of
together.
New York in general.
By the
Yeah,
name
get
of
it
Todd
together.
Anderson.
man.
Just saying.
So we're gonna move on to our next fight.
Oh yeah.
And my brother's keeper. Yes, I am.
Killing me.
Here we go. Here we
New
go.
Jack City fight.
We have Curtis
Bruh.
Curtius. Okay, so I'm gonna talk to you real quick, brother.
Bruh.
America is watching. Don't make up your own words. Conversate is not a word.
No, it is not.
Ask is not a word.
No, it is not.
And courteous is not a name.
No, it is not.
Curtis Millender versus Max Payne Griffin. Now, how do I feel about this?
Can we just?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cage Cousins. If you recall, we had one Max Griffin on a card very recently. And it was our own MikeyMoTheMC.
Yep.
Who said that because he looks like an R&B dude that he couldn't fight.
He's looking like Christopher Williams.
And went straight out there and mollywopped his opponent.
Keep it real, looks like
If
Miguel.
I'm dreaming,
He looks like Miguel.
don't wake me.
And Miguel can drop kicks. Or so I saw.
Oh, yeah.
Mikey Mo, the point of me bringing up this subject is you need to stop making picks based on looks, brother, because I'm about as R&B as I can get.
I have a question, speaking of looks. Are you sure that's Curtis Millender? Or is that actually Headbusser in a Roger from American Dad disguise?
No comment.
Or is this Nino Brown when he fought his brother in New Jack City?
Or is that the producer of Will They Reminisce Over You?
Pete Rock.
Pete Rock and Christopher Williams in a fight right now.
That's a great album. That's the first best of both worlds.
Deja vu. I tell you what I'm gonna do when they reminisce over you.
My God.
That was my track. That is my all-time favorite hip-hop track right there.
You cannot front on that because it's huge tangent. But we talked about this. It's one of those things where you come back to it and it's always going to be relevant.
Right.
But it was ahead of its time. Like it was current. And every time you listen to it, it's almost like Marvin Gaye's music. You turn it on and it's like, are you talking about 2018 or are you talking about 1968?
So for all of you younger people who have never heard Pete Rock and CL Smooth's When They Reminisce Over You, listen to what CL Smooth is saying in this track and tell me it don't sound like right now.
Especially about talking to his dad.
Man.
Portuguese lover at the age of 14.
Tell him.
Right.
Man.
And who doesn't have an aunt named Pam? You know? It's a great time. Also, shout out to my boy Max Griffin. Aside from the fact that you're in my fantasy league, Sacramento stand-up, and then throw some punches and kicks. I'm going to put it, I think Max Payne will win by decision. I think the Millender Beach Muscles will be out-courteoused by the second round, and Max will put a hurting on him. What say you, friends?
Well, if you put me up with Team Light Skin against Team Chocolate, I'm Team Chocolate every single time, baby. I'm still not going with Max Griffin.
Hey.
I'm going with Courteous. Making up the names.
He may not even be Team Light Skin. He's more of like a burnt sienna. Team Lacquer. Team Smoky Eye Kit.
Curtis is going to get him, man.
Curtis!
No,
we need a sample of that. Curtis!
I don't agree. I think I'm gonna go with Griffin. These guys are both they both got knockout power, man.
Yes.
So this should be a good fight. They're both young and hungry, but you know it's NorCal versus SoCal. I'm going NorCal all day. Max Payne Griffin. I think I'm gonna go decision, but I'm looking for a knockout in this.
I mean, if we keep it real, when it comes down to Sacramento fighters versus San Diego fighters, you know, generally Sacramento cleans their clock.
Unless it's Uriah Faber versus Dominic Cruz.
That's a whole other conversation that I wasn't prepared to have right now. Moving on to our. Wait, did you?
Forgot about me.
But no,
we can't forget about.
That we forgot about Dre.
I mean, seriously.
And they act like they forgot about JK.
Forgot about JK? So what do you say to somebody you hate?
Did anyone try to bring trouble your way?
I mean,
one day I was walking by.
I mean, nothing comes out when they move their lips.
Right.
So I mean,
It's a bunch of gibberish.
Go ahead and call the cops. Hey, that video.
Get you in that loud barking
No,
dog.
yeah. Hey, that video to this day. I'll be honest, I was not messing with Marshall. And then that video, and the police came, and he's like, I think someone crashed a car into the house. I don't know.
Oh man.
That look he gave, I was like, yo, okay. I know that guy.
I mean, listen.
Yeah.
Obviously, Melinder is the former welterweight champion at the LFA. Young prospect. The one thing that I love about Melinder is his unorthodox combinations.
Yes.
They're very unorthodox. And most of the time, what he does is he uses the illusion of punches to set up the kicks.
Mm-hmm.
And he has this weird thing about him where he will throw a right cross and follow it with a roundhouse from the same side. It's really awkward. It's really weird. But he catches people slipping with him all the time. So, I mean, you know.
I'll show you later. I'll show you how it works.
So, Max Grinder, the guy that Mikey Mo says is soft. Like,
Don't wake me. I'm dreaming.
see, here's the problem. Here's the problem. I think that Melinder is going to send Max Griffin dreaming.
Uh-oh.
Exactly.
Stay woke.
That's what I got. I got Melinder third round TKO.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
But, however, Max Griffin's ability to grind people out, if Melinder is not prepared for Max Griffin's wrestling skill, you gotta be very careful, as we saw in Max Griffin's last fight. Just saying that Mikey Mo called him soft, and we saw how that worked out, didn't we?
Hey, you can't be right all the time, but
You're never right, though.
I'm never right. I'm never right. We can go back and look at fights, and I'm right.
You mean no.
wrong.
See,
I
there
get
is a
something
difference.
wrong.
There is a difference between being right and guessing.
No.
There is a difference between the two. And
No.
what you do, Mr. Mikey Mo, is you guess.
You call Mikey Mo the guessee.
No,
Bruh, let me ask you this. Are you wearing
No.
Guess jeans right now?
definitely not. Never guessed jeans in my life.
Never in my life.
I don't guess, baby. I stick with what I choose, and that's it.
Somebody bring their vest because I feel like some shots were fired. What's going on? Welcome to the barbershop we call us.
Only ones I guess are the people that I don't know about.
Like I
Other than
said,
that,
guess.
Can I ask you something?
Like I said, guess.
Can I ask you something?
Guess, and more guess.
And I'm not setting you up for a joke. Do you watch Love and Hip Hop LA?
No.
Hollywood? Have you ever watched that?
Oh, man.
Do you know the members of B2K?
What the hell is he talking about?
I think one of them is about to fight next week. Moving on to the next.
Oh wait, is that fucking Is that Omarion?
And who's the other one? Remember, was it Biz or Diz or whatever?
I don't know their name.
Yeah, me neither.
I remember Omarion though, because I only remember him because he went to Rick Ross label.
Right. And he did have that one song.
Yeah, he had a song with Rick
He had
Ross that
a
was
song,
pretty dope.
like every other member of Maybach Music. A song.
Maybach Music.
Have you, by the way, Tangent, have you
You
heard
see
Push?
the confused look on my face?
Ever heard I heard
Hard Piano.
our piano, yeah.
Why does that always, we should talk. Why do those two always work? Because one's real and one's like
Maybach
a story.
Music.
But the combo always works, and I don't know why. And we'll have to talk about that. Okay. Rafael Asunciao versus
Asunciao
versus Rob. Is that Hot Chocolate? Did he drop the name? Did he used to call himself Hot Chocolate? Yes or no?
Maybe.
Versus Rob Font. Okay. Now.
Rob Font used to be Hot Chocolate? Is that what you're saying?
Or who was it?
Yeah.
Or was it the British guy? One of them was Rob.
Oh,
Font.
Danny Hot Chocolate.
Danny.
Yeah, Roberts.
Oh, God.
He still keeps that name.
Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
can you do me a favor, DeShawn?
Matter of fact, he has.
Can you do me a favor when I tell you to? I want everyone to look at Rob Font right now. Okay? Okay, just look at him. Now I want you to go back to the last fight real quick. Okay? So look on the right. That's before USADA. Now go back. After USADA.
Oh, that is, man, cold world, man.
Just Look, and he had to turn to the side so you actually believe he has abs. Look. Look. See? Before and after. It's terrible.
Man, this is cold.
It's cold. It's cold.
This
work.
is cold. Going to hell in gasoline draws with one glass of water and a match.
I mean,
Seriously.
I've heard of swimmer's cuts, but you got like a refugee belly. What's going on, brother?
Refugee belly. Oh.
Hey, I resent that comment.
How'd you? Or represent? No, okay, stop. Rafael Assunção. What a
Sunsao.
Assunção. What a terror. What an amazing fighter who we haven't seen for a while.
Yeah.
Hit this wall that was TJ Dillashaw,
Yes.
and we haven't seen him since then, right?
Actually, we have.
We have.
He is on it. He has won 10 of his last 11 fights.
Yeah.
Nice.
After that loss to TJ Dillashaw, he's
Yeah.
actually won his last
Cleaned
5.
it back up, right?
Yes.
And how are they not giving this guy title pushes beyond me?
Because he lost to TJ Dillashaw in devastating fashion.
And he might be mad
Oh,
boring.
I mean, it wasn't that bad of a decision.
He got bombasted. He didn't get finished,
Yeah.
But he didn't lose the way
He didn't get
Barao
finished.
lost to him.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
Barao lost himself. One of those times.
Oh,
I don't know.
no. Well, no. That
I
first
don't know.
fight, he got thrashed
No, but I'm
against
saying-
TJ Dillashaw.
But I also count that. Like, if you can't make weight, I'm such a stickler about
True,
this. If
true.
you pass out on the scale,
True.
I question your heart.
Yep.
I question were you ever really the champion? Amen. Because it's science, right? Like, you're a scientist, right?
Ooh.
Can you make the results happen over and over again? You got the belt, you defended the belt, you defended the belt, you defended the belt. You're the man. You're the woman. That's science. You got the belt, and then you have to defend it. Oh, see what had happened was that's not science.
You know what's funny?
That's magic.
Now,
That's magic.
when it's funny that you mention that because in UFC 225, when I was in Chicago,
Yeah.
remember that text message I sent you?
Yes.
Where I was like, can you just confirm in order to be the champion, to truly be the champion,
to defend.
you have to defend the belt.
Yes.
And that's just the bottom line. So, for all of you knuckleheads out there, listen carefully.
Hold on.
Okay.
This is if you're new to the show, this is the part where JK is going to tell you about yourself.
It's really just this simple. And this is a message for a particular person. I'm not going to call out that name. But just in case you follow by this line of thinking,
Drake, we talking to you.
Allow me to correct you, right? It doesn't matter if you win the belt. Because if you win the belt and you can't defend the belt, you were never the champion. Point blank, period.
Are we talking about Dillashaw?
No.
Who are we talking about in context?
The double champ does what he wants.
Oh, the Dark Lord?
That goes for the Irish Voldemort. It goes for one Holly Holm. And for anybody else who won a belt and couldn't defend it, that's the bottom line.
Question.
So for all of y'all people that are fans of these fighters, I get it. You like who you like. But as Soul to Soul once said in a song, it's back to life, back to reality.
However do you want it?
However do you want it?
However do you need it?
However do you need it? Oh.
However you want it. However you need it.
Do you feel
Back to
back to that conversation?
I want to say though, I feel there's a difference between never actually stepping foot in the cage to defend it and actually going through the defense process and losing.
No, there is no difference.
I know though. I mean,
Not
like
in
at
the
least
case
you
of
manned up
being
and
a fighter, there is no difference. It doesn't matter if you show up or not. If you don't walk away with the belt at the end of that process, that's a wrap.
And if you don't defend it,
I still feel it's a little bit cowardly to never actually attempt though.
yeah, I agree. That's what you're saying. You guys are saying the same thing. But
Okay.
here's the next one. What about if you defend against somebody who is not the same caliber? What if you are booked for somebody who is the number one contender, and every time you defend, you have to fight somebody who's like a number 5 or has never fought in the UFC before?
Michael, I love you.
And who could we be talking about, Mr. Sweet?
I'm just talking about TJ Dillashaw. The one time he had to defend against a contender, he lost the belt.
Bisping.
When he defended, right?
Bisping was supposed to defend against Romero.
Now,
and
Sweet.
got 50-year-old Dan Henderson, and still almost lost.
Now, Sweet. I
I'd
gotta.
lose too if I was fighting in England at 2 a.m, but that's a whole other combo.
Now, Sweet. I gotta call you out on this though.
Yes, he did fight one time against Barajo, but Joe Soto.
Joe
Soto.
Okay, but is that
Joe
his fault?
Soto?
Is that his fault?
Yeah, that's
not his
was
fault.
A bit of a
he has to fight the
circumstance.
person who's in front of him. Let's be honest. I gotta call you out here, Sweet.
Joe Soto. Joe Soto. Out
Okay.
of all of the bantamweights,
And that's fine. And that's fine. If you're gonna say that, that's fine.
1 to 50.
If
and
you're-
Joe Soto was in the 50.
Now.
Wait, no. I'm just
If
answering that question.
if you're gonna say that, that is fine. However, has this anything to do with your obvious bias against TJ Dillashaw?
Everything. I will use every piece of evidence as a hater.
And I'm just saying.
Destroy Dillashaw. Yes.
So to bring
I'm with you,
but
Sweet.
see,
I'm with you.
by just
Actually,
stand
to be
Dillashaw.
honest, I should stop being facetious. To be honest, I'm a huge fan of Dwayne Bing. I'm a huge fan of his wrestling coach, Mark, who's from Vallejo. So I don't actually dislike Dillashaw.
really.
Really.
Oh.
I don't. I don't like him. I don't like him, but I don't dislike him.
So for me, I don't like TJ or Cody.
Come on,
and I
Mr.
feel
Sweet.
like
Yeah, I both think
I
they're
feel like
huge
Marlon Moraes is going to beat either one of those, whoever wins.
We're not
that
there
fight.
yet. I just want to
And
understand these
just
rules.
to bring
Okay,
it back-
time out.
just to bring
Let's
it back
crawl
full
before we
circle,
walk. Let's crawl before we walk.
Assunção beat Marlon Moraes
Marlon
for his
Moraes-
only loss in the
Rafael
UFC.
Assunção? Yes, he did.
He needs to show up to a fight a little bit more.
I'm just trying to get y'all back focused on this
Can we
fight.
can we just talk about real quick? Can we answer that question that I was trying to? Was Joe Soto in that 1 to 50?
But that
Do you
was
think
that
he
was
was
an
a top
ugly
10?
circumstance where
Do you
somebody
think he
went
was
down.
a top 10 guy when he fought?
You just it just
No.
not at all.
No.
But he was there. He was
No,
on
but
weight. and
that
he
is
was
not. You cannot hold that against
You needed
the
to have a
fighter.
fight.
You
needed to have
cannot
a
hold
fight.
that against the fighter.
That's
What
like,
is he supposed
that's
to
like
do
saying-
in that
I mean,
situation?
Al Quinta was what 11, but still, it's like
If he beats Garbrandt,
versus-
if he beats Garbrandt and he fights more top 10 guys, absolutely. But we just, again, in the same category, if you don't defend, and when you do defend, you're defending against somebody who's not in that level.
Okay, and that's well and
That's all.
good.
I'm just-
That's
'cause you're-
well and good.
Because you made a convention, and I'm agreeing with you. You made a rule. Okay, we have this rule. It's like an if statement.
I agree with you, but what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying is that you cannot hold that against Dillashaw,
that's
which
not-
you're clearly doing
I
right
don't.
now.
I don't hold that against him. I hold his haircut against him. I don't hold that against him.
Well, considering that I'm bald, I'm not going to even go there.
Right. So now, speaking of things to hold, why don't you pull your pants up, Rob? What are you, Dookie from The Wire? Pull your pants up. Okay. So
Duquan, I'm gonna need to see you in class. more often.
absolutely, man. Look at him. Do you guys? You guys work with kids? Do you teach Rob Font? Because that's that face. Like, huh? Huh? Hey, I need you to stop messing with that young girl. Huh?
For the record, I do not teach the kids. I teach the teachers.
Teach the babies.
Well, most of the teachers are.
Does anybody actually think that Rob Font is going to win?
Yep.
Well, can you explain to me why? Because I don't. Because his belt's not winning. His physique's not winning.
I just haven't seen enough of Rafael, man. He's just.
Rafael Assunção? You haven't seen any of Rafael Assunção.
I know.
You haven't?
Fair.
No, I'm just saying.
No,
I just
I'm
saw-
asking because I don't. You've never seen any of Rafael Assunção? Not even one fight. He's had like 20
No,
fights
I
in the
seen-
UFC.
Nah, the main fight I seen him, he got waxed, and so I don't know. I'm just going with Rob because Rob looks funny to me, and I feel like he's gonna.
Rob looks like Stolly when he gets dropped from Maybach music.
He looks like one of those. He
know what that
does. He looks like one of those crafty light skinned dudes.
Here we go again.
I mean,
Light skin gotta be sneaky and crafty.
Hey, they are, man. Y'all, I'm sorry, ain't nothing against you. Y'all are crafty, man. Y'all hybrids.
Comes from being-
This man said,
From being
y'all are
teased
hybrids.
by you Wakandans all the time.
Like y'all some damn children of Blade or something.
Right. Part alien, part human. Light skin.
That fool
Yeah, look at-
said y'all part Cree.
He gonna pull some hybrid moves.
Cassius, where you at?
I'm telling you, watch.
Will go straight. You will go straight. And I just thought, well, you know what? You will drink the odium.
Bruh.
I just got to that last episode, too.
Bruh.
Damn you, May. Damn you! You made the wrong choice. Anyways, by the way, do your kids, do your light-skinned kids listen to the show? Do they know you think they're I'm just curious.
They know they light skinned, and that's good.
I tell them all the time. I'm asking for a friend who might look like me. Okay. Can we move on to the next fight?
Oh, man. Not before everybody actually picks.
Well, look at his face. He already knows. You know the answer. He don't even like them comments.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm actually
Rob
taking...
Font is getting choked out by Rafael.
I am actually going to take Rob Font by KO.
Wow.
Look, the good doctor is making all.
Stolly.
Look, he's choosing all of my fights all the choices I made. He's choosing too, but he's telling me I'm just guessing.
Hold up, time out.
You know, if you would write this down ahead of time.
Calling for timeouts when you got no time left.
Time out. Hold on.
It's all written down.
Hold on.
send that to
This
the
this don't have nothing to do with it. Let me tell you why, Cage Cousins. This has nothing
He
to
be
do
faking
with
it.
Because I actually know fighting. This guy is faking the funk.
Okay.
So if you're wearing your Guess jeans, you may as well wear them with pride.
I swear, he's like, what are they gonna say today? Oh yeah, I did that too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right, so you got Rob Font. How about you?
I got a Sun South second round submission.
Okay, I'm with you. I also want to point out Rob Font, why Rob is important, because if you remember, the members of Milli Vanilli, one of them was Rob.
Girl, you know it's true.
Who wrote that song?
Good question.
I love you.
Who did write
But I tell you, you're not going to like it.
Who?
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
The same guy who gave Puffy his first job.
Just say the name.
Father MC?
No. No.
Ooh. I thought.
An engineer turned music executive.
You're not helping.
I know. I'm making.
No.
If he,
I mean, he's helping me.
This is not trivia night.
he used to run Def Jam.
Andre Harrell?
No, close. Very close.
Nah.
Cage Cousins, you can go and do the homework. First name's Kevin. Figure out the second.
Yeah, I
Moving
was
on.
gonna say.
Moving on to this next fight. Where do I begin with the bias?
Dun, dun, dun.
Uriah Primetime Hall versus Paula the Eraser. Get to the chopper, Costa.
Looks like Ray Liotta in high school.
You can smell the PEDs from here, man.
Put some dreads on your right. He looked like the Predator.
First of all, shout out to Paulo Costa for changing his last name so Americans can pronounce it.
Great. Thank you very much, because we're ignorant.
What did it used to be?
We'll talk about that offline.
Offline. Security.
This is for me, a very simple fight. We understand Uriah Hall is a striker who uses kicks, who has a very snap, quick version of Kyokushin,
Yes.
who uses spinning attacks to generate power.
Yes.
The question to decide is, with his time at Extreme Couture, has Uriah Hall understood that he is in something called mixed martial arts, where you have to learn how to fight on the ground as well? Paulo Costa. He has incredible hands. We saw him end Johnny Hendricks with punches. The question here is, we have not seen Costa on the ground in the UFC, and the question is, do we trust the bias and say that because he's Brazilian, he probably knows some jiu-jitsu, or has he picked up some wrestling to counter Uriah Hall? Given that Uriah Hall has a huge propensity to fail when the lights shine brightest, and especially his people, I'm going to give this to Paulo Costa by flash knockout in the first round.
I completely agree. The bottom line is,
yes.
the bottom line is Uriah Hall, for all the potential that he showed during the Ultimate Fighter, he is the ultimate underachiever at this level. And unfortunately, that is just a fact here. I expect Paulo Costa to also end this fight quickly by KO.
Here's an ironic moment. If you are disappointed by the Jamaican versus Brazilian, I suggest you go back to the 1980s and watch the World Cup, because that was a time in soccer when Jamaicans and Brazilians were dominant, but clearly not this week. How do you guys feel about this fight? These are facts.
I like what the good doctor was saying, but I think the opposite. I think that Uriah Hall, since he's been such an underachiever, I think that he's going to try to. I think he's going to get it together with this particular fight.
He's from his hood. He's from his hood. Is he not supposed to root for him?
And
He's from his hood.
Of course, and yes, and I can't turn my back on Jamaica either. So
he's from Jamaica, Queens. How can he not root for him? Wait, you're gonna ignore the Mozambican
I got
guy
Jamaica
from
in
Oakland?
my blood.
If there was a Mozambican from Oakland who couldn't fight, you're telling me you're not gonna root for him?
You know doggone well I call it like I said.
Yeah, and you would see some reason like, well, let me tell you about Mozambicans. Nah. What you think, because he's missing with his punches, what he's really doing is summoning spirits.
Nah.
And that's good for the people.
Nah. More like hell nah.
Brane, what do you think?
Nah. I mean,
and don't pick him because you like
these
reggae.
guys. No. I mean, these guys both have highlight knockouts. They're both,
You better pick the right way because you're the reason
know
I
where
hate
I'm going.
Uriah Hall.
And I mean, my bias aside, everybody knows my situation with Uriah Hall, where he was a jerk to me. But I did pick him in the fantasy league, so my bias aside, I got Costa as a third round knockout.
Right.
I just feel like this fight is gonna go back and forth, but just Hall's eventually he's gonna get caught, and Costa is 11-0. All 11 are finishes. Majority of them knockouts. He's got a few submissions sprinkled in there, but this guy's never seen a decision, so I think he's gonna try to keep it that way.
In the immortal words of one Theodore Pendergrass,
I thought he was gonna say Hulk Hogan.
I think you need to let it go because it looks like another love TKO, and that is what you're experiencing with Mikey Mo right now.
Did you also hear the other? Did you also hear the other immortal words of Teddy Pendergrass?
Which would be?
Oh, I thought she was a woman.
Oh.
Moving on to the next fight.
Whoa.
These are facts. These are just facts. Okay.
God.
We have Gokhan, the rebel Saki, versus Khalil Roundtree Jr. Let me give you some background.
Please do.
Mixed martial arts is composed of many martial arts happening at the same time. We often make the analogy that it's like watching the Olympics in an octagon. One of the sports that feeds it very well is something called kickboxing, which has had its own evolution. There's American kickboxing, there's Thai kickboxing, there's Dutch kickboxing. And then there is, I don't know what the word for it, but there's a style that comes out of Eastern Europe and the Mid East that is exceptionally aggressive, and I don't know the word for it.
I just call it glory.
Yeah, glory. Gokhan Saki is, no matter what happens in this fight and what happens in his UFC career, is one of the best kickboxers there has ever been on the planet.
Yes. Yep. Amen.
His ability to line up shots, combos, range, evade, keep pace, defend is inspirational.
Yes.
Regardless of what happens.
Yes.
He is also, if you notice, from the Netherlands. And so the Netherlands is very close to Denmark. You have a Dutch influence on his kickboxing, and they really kind of popularized it and brought it into K1 and brought it into glory. But then you have a man by the name of Khalil Roundtree Jr. First of all, Khalil Roundtree is from a place called Newark, New Jersey.
The Bricks.
Yeah, Brick City.
Brick City.
There
Home
is
of Whitney Houston.
and
Faith Evans.
And?
Shaquille O'Neal.
And?
Redman.
Thank you very much. There is a breed of individual who comes from this area that makes them very resilient. And it also has a little brother complex. For example, if you were flying into New York and you couldn't get a flight to JFK or LaGuardia, you could go to Newark. Is it fair to say that Newark is to New York what Sacramento is to the Bay Area? Or is that disrespectful?
It's not disrespectful.
Okay.
But I would use I wouldn't use that.
Okay. Fair.
Specific one. But it's not disrespectful, though.
Okay. So you have that. And this dude is not only highly educated, many people don't know his father was a community activist, almost became mayor. So he's very involved in the soil. He also, at one time, was a very, very, very large man who was overweight and ate terribly. He started taking some kickboxing classes and lost a lot of weight. And it was so impressive that he was invited to train in Compton, California under a sort of well-known MMA fighter by the name of Anderson Silva, who then taught Khalil Roundtree and then entered him into the tough fighter, the tough competition. He probably could have done better, but unfortunately, he was on the same team as his training partner. And so that's probably not going to go well. He has, in the past, been afraid of his power. Is that a fair way of describing it?
Yeah.
I think he's turned a corner where he understands this is a business and this is the hurt business. You make money by making people go unconscious. So the question here for me is, has Gokhan Saki spent enough time training with MMA fighters and Sancho fighters to pick up some wrestling? We know Khalil Roundtree has. We know he can suplex. We know he can sprawl. And we know he can defend. So the question is not whether or not their striking will match each other out, because they're both power hitters, but whether the attacks from the clinch and from the break, how those will go off. Because I'm biased, I believe that Gokhan Saki has a great MMA career, but I do think he's going to lose this by decision.
Isn't Roundtree's pops, wasn't he also like a manager of Belle Biv DeVoe or something like that?
He was involved, yeah. I don't know the extent, but I know he was involved. Yep.
I'm going Gokhan Saki. I agree with you. I hope that Roundtree did turn that corner because I feel like he hesitates in his fights. And if he does, that's when Saki's going to pounce on him.
Yes.
And if he wants to trade too, I mean, Roundtree's got power too. But Saki is just, that experience is a...
Saki's been in some wars, man. He's super intense. Super intense.
Violent individual.
Yeah, he's like, when I seen him fighting for glory as the champ, man, like, he was a scary individual. And I just think that if he brings that same scariness to this fight, it's going to be a wrap. A fast wrap.
I'm glad you guys overestimate Saki that much. I'm glad you guys do. See, here's the difference. This is a different sport. That is a fact. Point blank, period. Now, if we were talking a kickboxing match, yeah, I'd go with Saki. But, if we were talking Muay Thai, I'd go with Saki. But this is the octagon. Bottom line, Khalil Roundtree Jr. is more experienced than Saki in the octagon. This is a different dynamic than a ring. This is an octagon with a cage.
This is a different game.
This is a totally different game. You're not playing checkers. You're playing Monopoly.
But is he going to go for that takedown? If he strikes with him, then it's basically a kickboxing match.
It's not going to happen that way. And that's the problem. You guys are putting too much on Saki. This is Khalil Roundtree's fight
to lose.
Period. Yeah. To lose. Period. I see Saki, and yes, I'm going to say it. He looks like Alistair Overeem to me.
What? Oh,
you mean his style?
And what I mean by that is
very accurate.
What I mean by that is I could see Saki's career in mixed martial arts going the same way.
Oh my God.
I could see that.
I mean,
Oh,
it's not like Overeem's had a horrible
No.
career.
And I'm not saying that he had a horrible career.
No, I'm saying because he's saying, "Oh my God."
Yeah, I'm not
I
saying
think-
that Overeem had a horrible career.
He
What I'm
had a
saying is the
pretty great career,
trajectory.
actually.
He's getting into mixed martial arts too late
Yeah. I
to
agree.
have that type of transformation because we're talking about a completely different sport.
And I think
can
he
you
would
learn-
benefit from being in an organization like Bellator or ONE FC because they allow you to freelance and still go kickbox from time to time. Whereas the UFC, you got to be exclusive. Now you can only fight here in
No, it depends on who you are because you'll see other fighters are taking fights in other places.
when they give them those developmental contracts.
No,
but
even
this
when
is a guy that's
they just
established.
It's just how you negotiate.
Right.
What is the age cutoff to learn grappling?
I think it's different for every person.
Okay.
It's completely different for every person. Obviously, I learned at a very young age. So, I mean, would I say that there is a cutoff? No, I wouldn't. However, but when you're talking about this level of competition, as the old adage goes, biting more than you can chew.
I have a theory. And this is only a theory. I don't have any data. I think that you could learn striking at any age.
Okay.
The only problem that comes in is your flexibility. Okay. And your chin.
Okay.
But I believe that grappling, if you were to bring it in, you have to learn it early and integrate it and add the layer of striking on top. I don't believe you can go the reverse. I've never seen a successful, and
that's a fair point.
high-level striker who goes back and learns grappling. It
That's a
always
good
looks
point.
like we're playing wrestling or we're playing jiu-jitsu. You have to be a master martial artist to be able to do that. But that reason why you're able to do that is because you're already taught yourself how to learn. So you understand the parallels, right? So if you're going to start and you're going to train a fighter, you want to start from grappling. I think we all got our decisions on this. We're moving on to the next fight that JK couldn't be more excited about. We've actually already talked about this, okay? Let me give you some background.
Y'all suckers better recognize.
It's still East Side till he dies. Why ask why? It's a crazy mixed up world. It's a doggy dog world.
It is.
It's your world.
It is.
Cage-
It's a doggy dog.
The Cage Cousins rocks the party all night long.
All night long.
And it don't stop.
Probably gonna be fighter tonight.
Yeah, we've already talked about this fight. And the
have.
reason why we talked about this was supposed to happen at Madison Square Garden.
At UFC 223.
And unfortunately, we had Dollygate that disrupted it. This is a far more interesting fight now because both of these fighters are coming off lackluster performances. They typically tend to do better when they are emotional. What has always been interesting to me, and we've talked about multiple times, is the parallel of these stories. These fighters are motivated by proving something to their father. So Anthony Showtime Pettis, the former lightweight champion of
UFC and WEC.
Correct. Also the inventor of the Showtime kick. Yes. First person to start bringing off-the-cage techniques to the octagon. Lost his father at an early age. I believe you told me his father was murdered.
Yes, his father was murdered in a home invasion with his mother.
Yeah, hence the tattoos on his body. And so if you guys remember when he came back to defend his title or won his belt back in his home stadium in Minneapolis, after he won, he still had his shirt off and he went and ran to his dad's grave.
Milwaukee.
Yeah.
In Milwaukee.
Meanwhile, you have Michael Chiesa, the Maverick, who came in through tough. He had to leave for a week to go bury his father, who was dying of cancer, came back and slaughtered everybody. Former training partner of San Celia, as well as the artist formerly known as Juliana Pena.
Pena.
She used to be a fighter. Now I guess she's just drinking cup of tea.
Hey, get a woman a break. She just had a baby.
Nah, bruh. No
See?
breaks.
See? See, I told y'all what I got to deal with. See?
Moving on. Why is this an important fight? Chiesa's pissed off, but not at Pettis. He's pissed off at those who shall not be named. He feels he is owed financially, and what he's really mad at is he felt like he was next in line to get a title shot.
Absolutely.
And was robbed of it.
Absolutely.
And he felt like the referee pulled Kevin Lee off of him
early,
prematurely.
Yeah.
And he was like, let's run it
which
back.
May be,
Didn't get that opportunity.
which may be his loss to Kevin Lee may be one of the worst officiated fights of all time. Outside this side of Todd Anderson, that is.
Worse than DeFear Harris and Kevin Ferguson? Or worse than Hoist Gracie and Frank Shamrock?
Well, those fights weren't horribly officiated.
Yeah.
Those fights were horribly put together.
Right. And that's why I don't watch Bellator.
See?
Because you never know if you're watching a fight or you're watching WWE. And you're probably getting a little of both. And I'm not okay with that.
And I mean, besides, you could always go to Bellator if you ever want to start using Geritol. Just saying.
But what frustrates me are those fighters in Bellator that I'd rather have over at UFC.
Like Michael Chandler.
And Kerry Melendez.
Yes.
And then there's Michael Van Page, just because
Yeah.
I don't
Venom.
believe that
Man.
he's for real.
Man.
Yeah.
Me personally.
And Douglas
I don't
Lima.
believe he's for
I
real.
wanted to ask
I'd
what you
love for
guys think
Douglas
about
Lima this
Venom
crossover.
Page.
That's a
Fair. And I don't understand why this fight with Rory McDonald and Musasi has to happen over there. We were robbed. We were loyal fans.
Yeah.
Because neither one of them could no longer compete at the UFC level.
Fair. Okay. So
I don't know about that.
Fair.
But
I know about it.
I feel like Bellator's only putting that together because that's basically their two.
But see,
marquee
here's the
fighters
thing.
Right now.
Here's the thing. If you can actually still compete at the highest level, then why would you leave?
Because they pay you better over there. Not
It's all
everybody,
money. It's all
but
money.
when they're a free agent and Bellator
It's
saying,
all money.
"I give you this Viacom money."
Okay, Brane, I'll let you tell
I
it.
give you this Viacom
I'll let
money.
you, I'll let you tell it.
I'll put it
But-
this way. If you've been punched in the head a lot, you may not make sound financial decisions.
Just saying.
Just saying. Everybody who
Because the bottom line is this, Brane. Who do the people watch? Bellator or the UFC?
But Bellator's on free
Who do the
TV.
people watch?
Neither.
Bellator or UFC?
It's just neither. I mean, yeah, the
who do they
UFC is more popular.
You mean who do they
but-
illegally download or who do they watch for free?
Right. So Bellator's on free TV. They got the Viacom money, and you still get to have your sponsorships.
But you want
Not
to know? You want
everybody's
to know
getting
why?
Viacom
You want to know
money.
why being on free TV doesn't matter? Because people forget that Bellator is on.
People can't even say Bellator.
Part of it is their fault for
Like, what is a
you,
Bellator?
You have a fight in San Jose, and the people in San Jose have to watch 3 hours later on a tape delay.
And
After
then on
they've
top
already
of
got
that,
results.
those fights don't even sell out.
Because it takes 3 hours to get to San Jose. Is this fight going to change? Is it going to be any different? Well, yeah, it's going to be different.
Because it never happened in the first place.
Because, well, I'm just saying from the last time we called it, the Pettis brothers have problems with wrestlers.
And Pettis has lost 5 out of his last 7.
They've had problems with wrestlers. It's serious. My thought is this will be by Chiesa by decision.
I got Chiesa second round choke out.
I am going to take Pettis by KO.
We know this.
Ooh.
Because the bottom
Minotaur.
line is Anthony Pettis is the better striker by far. And it's not even close.
Yeah, but
We know that.
Chiesa knows that as well.
Yeah.
He's not
Here's
gonna,
the thing.
He's not going to test that water.
Yes, he will. Because he actually thinks that he's better than Pettis on the ground. And as we know, Pettis ain't no joke on the ground either. So if you think that Charles Oliveira couldn't catch Pettis slipping, you think Chiesa's gonna catch him slipping? Man, please.
Okay.
I do.
Man, please.
We are going to take a break, and then we're going to go to the unofficial
Only
main
because I
event.
couldn't
Beat
go
him down till I retire
Chronic
and take a break.
2001.
And then we'll
beat
do
him
the
down
rest of
till
it.
I retire and take a break. And beat him down till I retire and take a break.
Rest in peace, Sean Price. We're going to take a break. I am the SweetMBA. I'm joined by,
The evil doctor, J.K. Akins.
as well as,
MikeyMoTheMC.
And Brane Damage.
everything you're seeing, hearing, and experiencing is taped by DeShawn Davis for Dream Air Productions, and this is the premiere show on the Dream Podcast Network. Thank you for hollering, and we'll be back.
The stuff that dreams are made of.
Cage Cousins, we are here to give you a new vocabulary word. Mikey Mo, during the break, gave us a new SAT word called true bumness.
Yes.
And true bumness is an adjective for Alistair Overeem.
How did I know? How did I
What
know?
true bumness is as he explained, is
Yes.
when they took the horse meat away,
Yeah.
apparently Alistair Overeem lost all his grappling skills.
Yes.
Rather than the fact that Alistair Overeem might have never been a grappler and is just a kickboxer with some defense and a guard, he
True
believes it's the horse
bumness.
meat. He believes that steroids gives you grappling skills.
No, I just believe the horse meat gave him grappling skills, and he stopped eating the horse meat once they popped him, and then his true bumness came out.
True bumness.
His true bumness came
speaking
out.
of horse
Where's the
great
sledgehammer,
adjective.
Reem? Where's the sledgehammer?
Speaking of horse meat, you know what they use horse skin for?
What?
To make guest jeans. Moving on to our next fight. This is not.
That's a good thing I
This
don't
is
wear
not a
that.
co-main event, but this is a bro main event, as in brother main event. This is a really important fight that we've been waiting for. This is, if we could pick our own main event of Cage Against the Machine for the year, this would be it. This is for the contender of the Wakanda Heavyweight Championship.
Ah, yes.
And why is this fight important? Let me explain to you what's about to happen, and then we'll explain who's in it. This is what goes on inside the psyche of the people here. Okay? You have one side of you that is connected to the African continent, that believes in people,
Yes.
and is and wants to help and is one with the pyramids and the soil and the land.
Ah, yes.
And then there's another part of you that is descended from people who were brought here against their will and was treated badly. And sometimes you just need to act up because you have been treated badly. And that's the only. When you can give trauma, you will get trauma. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So to frame this, this is ultimately, again, the fight between the Council of Wakanda and the Lost Tribe. We have Francis the Predator Ngannou versus
Ngannou.
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 I'm not trying to Ngannou with
Predator.
you right now.
Ngannou.
Look, I don't want to get Ngannou into it with you. And Derek the Black Beast Lewis. So let's talk about why this is also important. The winner is already decided no matter who happens. There are two winners in this fight. The first winner is Derek Lewis's Instagram account.
Yes.
It's already a champion.
Yes.
Secondly, we're winning.
Yes.
We're all going to be very happy. This is the opposite of taco time.
Yes.
Yes.
Nobody's
Taco
leaving.
and tinkle.
We're not going anywhere when this
Yeah.
fight starts. This might be the part where
If you got to use a bathroom, damn
Right,
it, you're
do it.
holding
Hold
it.
it.
right, that was the time to go to
Hold
the bathroom
it.
was during Rob Font's fight. Okay,
Definitely.
this
That's
is the time
definitely taco
where
and
we're at
tinkle
Seawolf.
fight.
Like, shh, they're starting. Okay,
You're all in a movie theater, and the
right.
movie's about to start.
Turn off your phone.
Yes.
Don't be that dude.
The other winner is the fans, because boy, do these men hit hard. These
We're
are-
talking about the two hardest hitters
Yeah.
in UFC history.
They, I mean, if you
Somebody's
look at
going to bed.
if you look at this, it almost is the most fire mixtape of 2018.
Yeah.
It should be Lewis and Ngannou, the heavy hitters.
that would be an ill E EP.
Yeah.
Let's hit them up and make sure they do that afterwards. What can we speak to? Ngannou,
Ngannou.
Ngannou.
his mama named him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay.
Except he didn't call him Clay.
Francis.
Where's Francis?
Francis, also, aside from being from Cameroon, has used his spotlight to advocate for unilateral international action in Libya around human trafficking and the rebirth of slavery, which is amazing. He also holds the record
Not to mention Libya.
Yeah, and earns the
salute to that.
The record of the hardest punch in UFC history.
UFC history.
Trivia fact: who has the hardest kick?
I would assume Anderson. I don't know.
Joe Rogan.
Really? I was gonna say.
I was just gonna change it to. Oh, Crow Cop's a good answer. I was just gonna change it to Rumble.
Well, Rogan is a former Taekwondo grand champion.
Yep. Who would knock out by spinning back kicks. Yep. Derek Lewis has had incredible hands.
And he broke the record on that punch machine that they got on their little show.
He broke DC's record.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is why they started doing that, right? He also seems to have something that Francis does not, called wrestling.
The sauce.
Yeah, he has the ability to grapple, to clinch, and take down. So if Lewis is able to, he can't do the 5-round thing that Stipe did. But if he's able to grapple and clinch and get this fight to the ground, his crocodile I mean, he makes that crocodile shape when he beats him up. His ground and pound is deadly. It's scary. That's why they call him the Black Beast. But if he stands there and tries to bang and thinks that this is Travis, he's going to get knocked out. But as you put it, no matter what, there's going to be two dark brothers hugging at the end and you're happy.
Oh, yeah. See, these two are going to give us one tremendous round. I think they're going to run out of gas. So I think it'll end. It's got to end in the first. Somebody's going to get hit with one of them.
You don't think Derek has a gas tank?
He has a better gas tank than Francis.
Derek Lewis is the gas tank. He's from Houston.
But still, they're going to go out there and just chunk them. They're going to go out there and just chunk them, man. They're two
Houston Oilers
big animals. And they're going to run out of gas. But it's going to end in the first round. Somebody's going to go to sleep. I think it's going to be Francis.
Somebody going to get hurt.
I think it's going to be Francis.
Nobody move. Nobody get hurt.
Also, somebody's going to get hurt. Everybody, yeah.
Yes.
I got Ngannou in second round KO. Wow. I think that
hatred.
The way that you said it about Derek's wrestling is everything he learned in the Stipe fight. And I feel like he learned that. And this is the fight where he starts to evolve his game from just being a haymaker. Plus, I mean, Derek Lewis has practically been bragging about how much his back has been bothering him. So, unless that's like a fib to try to throw Ngannou off, it's, you know what I mean. He's going to use that to his advantage.
Yeah, Derek uses trickery too. So,
again, his Instagram account.
Yeah.
Francis ain't been doing no grappling.
Yeah, I could tell. You could tell Francis is not going to show one drop of improvement from.
If he hasn't
the last
learned
fight.
and he doesn't put anything into that, then
It'll look worse.
I agree.
But I may weigh in on our Wakanda member.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah.
Let's see what the good doctor says.
Ngannou is the better striker.
The heavier
Derek
striker.
Lewis, at this particular point, may be the better overall fighter. Maybe. I do not have full confidence in Derek's ground skill.
Okay.
The main reason for that is because we have seen Derek Lewis in some compromising positions while on his back.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with Ngannou is probably the freakiest athlete in the heavyweight division.
Yes.
Freakily.
He is quicker. He is faster than Derek Lewis. His hands are faster than Derek Lewis. And that is where the difference is going to be. It's going to be the athletic ability. Because Derek Lewis is the better fighter, Ngannou is going to look to put Derek Derek Lewis away early. And that is what I am thinking is going to happen here. If Derek Lewis is unable to get Ngannou to the ground and on his back quickly, it spells trouble. It spells trouble. Because regardless of what you want to say about Ngannou's lack of ground skill, which, by the way, is completely true, Ngannou is just the better athlete than Derek Lewis. And it's not even close. Okay. So I think Derek Lewis is going to go to sleep early.
Got it. Well, there you have it. We're going to move on to our next fight, the official co-main event of the evening. The featherweight title belt will be on the line where Max Blessed Holloway aims to continue the Blessed era against Brian T. City Ortega. This fight is a juxtaposition of stories that is hard to figure out. Max Holloway is a Hawaiian who fights like a Brazilian. Brian Ortega is a Latino who talks like he's Hawaiian. I can't make this stuff up. It's just facts. It's really hard to figure out. Max Holloway brings an incredible amount of striking combined with very well integrated level changes and grappling. Brian, we know, is a highly decorated jiu-jitsu guy who has shown some boxing as of late that is very scary. And you may have remembered he came through the tough South Florida season. Recently has put away, the one thing they have in common, if I remember, they both have definitively knocked out Jose Aldo.
No.
Who was it he knocked out?
Ortega knocked out Frankie Edgar.
Frankie Edgar, right. So
which is not an
fight
easy task.
No, not at all.
No, nobody's done it before.
It was impossible until then.
Yeah.
Ask Gray Maynard.
Woo.
Yeah.
So, the keys to success in this are hard to find. I'm not really sure who's going to win, but I know that I'm going to have a good time watching. I think, to quote my brother, I feel like Brian Ortega will be the featherweight champion one day.
Okay.
July 7th is not that day.
Okay. I think it will be that day by decision. I think he's going to frustrate Holloway the whole fight. I don't think he'll knock him out, but I think he's going to end up winning 3 to 5 rounds. It's going to be a glorious fight, but I just think Ortega's just going to end up frustrating Holloway the entire fight. That's it.
I'm gonna obviously input my Hawaiian bias. I'm gonna go for Max all the way. I feel like, though, although Max has fought a many number of former champs, a high level of competition throughout his entire career, this young kid is still the biggest challenge of his career. And as you said, Brian came up as a submission specialist and is now showing he's dangerous everywhere. And matter of fact, to bring up that punch machine on UFC tonight, Ortega's number was 2 slots higher than Max's. So he's got the power. I feel like Max has the experience. His championship drive right now is just through the roof, and he just has that fire in him. But it's going to be tough, man. This kid Ortega, he's just something else. And he's so young and still just a guppy in the game. Like, he's only been around doing this for a few years. So for him to have this much talent and this far in the game, just a few years in, is like his career is going to be a tremendous path. But I just feel like Holloway's experience and, that's going to take over. And at some point, last 30 seconds of the fight, he's going to point at the floor and we're going to get fight of the year at the end. You know what I mean? So this is going to be a classic. This is going to be the war that, like, like you said, when the Lewis and Ngannou come out and we like shush everybody, I think that's just pretty much okay. That's for the next 3 fights.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. This whole main card is just you can't go pee.
I'm gonna go Hawaii all the way. Let's go, Maxie.
Well, as the non-biased member of Cage Against the Machine, it is my job to point out several things. Number one, Max Holloway has actually won 3 consecutive championship fights, all by finish.
Yes.
That's something very important to point out. I love Brian Ortega's game. Brian Ortega has done a couple of the unthinkable things. One, knocked out Frankie Edgar, as we mentioned earlier. Number 2, catch Cub Swanson in a standing guillotine. So, one of the things that we know about Ortega for sure.
There's a number 3 too.
Okay.
Able to get Robert Downey Jr. to donate to his nonprofit.
And there you have it. There you have
When
it.
you hang with Iron Man, that's pretty important.
That is.
And then submissions can come
Brian
from anywhere.
Ortega, this kid has proven that he is ready for this level of competition.
Yep.
That is the one thing
Agreed.
that we know for sure.
Definitely.
But as you heard Brett say earlier, Mr. Sweet, that is, as you heard him say earlier, he quoted me, by the way. Ortega will be the champion at some point. UFC 226 is not that day. Max Holloway will win this fight in a decision.
Yep.
The bottom line is this. It is hard to win a championship fight by decision if you are the challenger. You have to dismantle the champion in order for that to happen. And one thing that Max Holloway does not do is get frustrated. The greatest featherweight of all time couldn't frustrate Max Holloway. You're trying to tell me that Brian Ortega's going to do that? That's a negative, ladies and gentlemen. That is a negative.
We are going to see.
Max Holloway by decision and still.
All righty.
And still.
We are now moving on to
The main event of the evening.
Yes.
fighting.
Out of the blue corner, he is the current light heavyweight champion of the world and the former Strikeforce Grand Prix champion of the world. He is coming out of San Jose, California, a.k.a. Jim, the one, the only, Daniel D.C. Cormier.
We should also add that he's a member of Cage Against the Machine. Moving on.
Fighting out of the red corner, he is the champion. Coming out of Northeast Ohio by way of Serbia, he is the greatest heavyweight fighter of all time, Stipe Miocic.
Because he's African, he can add that little T sound in there with the pronouncing. But the rest of us like, oh, Miocic. Why is this an important fight? This is one of the first.
I thought it was supposed from Croatia. Serbia?
It might be Croatia.
I think you're right. I think it's
be
because
right.
I remember what's his name. What was
Where that boy from? Where that boy from?
Serbia, Croatia,
but
Yugoslavia, the former
right.
war-torn country.
What was
And
that?
the only guy to have a Mexican beer as a sponsor and not be Mexican.
Well, they're the official sponsor of the
UFC. Yeah,
Entire
not
UFC.
just him. They
all of them.
But they still put him on. I mean, they could have went with,
But all of them. have it.
Jair,
It's just you just got to look at the other. Yeah, well,
You got to look at the
I don't know
other.
if you know this. I don't know if you know this.
Maybe not Yair. No.
Mexicans don't drink Mexican beer.
Oh, they do. Au contraire.
Just like I don't know if you know this, but Jamaicans don't actually drink Red Stripe. They just sell it to you.
Yeah, Red Stripe changed their recipe around 2003, and
But Irish do.
then
drink
it started
Guinness.
tasting like caramel, and I was like, no more of this.
So why is this an incredible fight?
Super fight.
Many reasons. This is a super fight.
This is the first real super fight.
Yes.
There are many people who have come from one weight class to fight a champion in another weight class.
But this is historic.
But that always in the past has felt either it has not succeeded or it has felt fictitious.
It's
felt
lackluster.
In fact, I want to say that BJ Penn was the only one to actually climb the ranks of both the weight classes that he fought for the championship in.
Nobody has done that in the two heaviest weights.
Yes.
Right, exactly. And all these other guys now, they were just kind of like Randy Couture came back from retirement, beats himself at heavyweight. GSP with the whole middleweight thing.
Right.
Nah.
You know.
But he knew
not the same.
What do you guys
not
call
the
him?
same.
Sauron getting his extra title shot. It's like none of these guys climbed those ranks.
Right,
Whereas
and also-
DC, maybe not recently, but he came up as a heavyweight,
he's
undefeated.
And they both defended multiple times.
Yeah.
And why this is incredible on multiple levels is the story, right? So on one level, you've got this East versus West thing. You've obviously got DC, who we've talked about before, friend of the show, huge supporter, could not be a nicer guy, but also has helped really shape the ecosystem in the South Bay at AKA, which they just have belt after belt after belt, and has really turned all eyes in MMA to what is it you guys are doing in the Bay Area that makes you good at MMA. Then you have
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yes, sir.
I heard that DC became a high school wrestling coach and donated his entire salary.
That is true.
Yep.
That is true.
And on top of which him
Gilroy High School.
and him and
Nice.
Kane and
Sean Bunch.
Sean Bunch and many of the AKA guys donate to Oak Grove High School, which is an East Side prep, which is hugely black.
That's
And then was it that who's Justin Willis maybe? Just recently put out that thing about kids in foster home.
Absolutely.
You need some come through. I'll pay for your
Absolutely.
classes.
And then the homie Jeremy Murphy, you know what I mean? Like,
That's what's up.
I mean, we could go on for days, but we just have
Class-
a lot.
Shout out to
Class
Jeremy
act.
Murphy and Sean Bunch, by the way.
Straight up.
Big
Class
shout
acts,
salute.
AKA.
Just-
Class acts.
Yeah, just love.
Whoa.
Matter of fact, what up, AKA? We see
AKA,
y'all.
We see y'all. We rep y'all the way y'all rep us, and we appreciate it. So you have that. And at one time, very few other gyms could actually say that their roster of alpha competitive males, like where they can go through and go, heavyweight, light heavyweight, middleweight, lightweight. They just went through the roster to the point where they're now on the second generation with Habib, right? Where the
Welterweight
new-
too, right? Because I mean,
Welterweight
wasn't
as
Fitch
well.
down there?
Right. But did Fitch ever win the belt?
He didn't win, but he fought for it, and he won
As the
titles
Koscheck,
in other
but right. Point being,
in other
I
organizations.
mean, they had
Thompson.
They were, to be analogy. I don't want you guys to go down the rabbit hole too much, but this might be the 49ers of MMA in terms of having a dynasty
That's a fair
and being Bay Area. Okay,
That's a fair analogy.
and they're in the South Bay. Yes, I'm still bitter.
Yes.
At the same time, you have Stipe, who trains out of Cleveland, Ohio, but spends a lot of time with his training partners over with Sarah Longo and stuff like that. And so, besides the that kind of aspect, you have that East Coast thought.
Really, I thought he was at the gym. I believe it was called One Punch in Northeast Ohio with Jessica I.
He does that, yeah, and the other one, Strong or whatever,
Strong,
whatever in Cleveland. But also, he trains with Villante, is his really good friend. He spends a lot of time with Weidman and Villante. Judgment suspended. It clearly works for him. It doesn't work for them. Let's put it that way. So you have that moment. And what does this really mean? If DC pulls this off, does this wipe the slate clean? The slate, to me, was never dirtied. Without going down the rabbit hole, this guy has lost the belt twice and had to give it back to him because his competitor just couldn't actually follow the rules. But what this means, if DC wins, it means he is a dominant champion in 2 weight divisions and can retire probably as the greatest of all time, having held his own. What does this mean with Stipe if he wins? It means that he has the ability to defend at any weight class and he could put himself in the roster of the greatest of all time. It really is.
He's already the greatest.
Yeah, he's already the greatest heavyweight of all
broken the
time.
record.
Yeah.
He's already the greatest heavyweight.
Yeah, he's
Here's
the greatest
the clinch,
heavyweight.
though. Here's the real clinch. Bias aside, San Jose, on a good day, is 45 minutes away from the Oracle Arena. And as you guys saw already,
That's a very good day, by the way.
it just wasn't Cleveland's year. And it may not be this again.
We got Cleveland's number out here.
LeBron may be the greatest basketball player of all time. Stipe may be the greatest heavyweight of all time. But they both got swept.
The Bay got their number.
Ouch.
DC, rear naked choke, 4th round.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Gentlemen, anything?
I was thinking 3rd round. DC just stop TKO stoppage. I think he's gonna do him dirty, just like he did Volkan. Just hold him down and just feed him elbows, just ground and pound him to the end.
I agree, but then he's setting up the choke for that. Because you can't knock out Stipe.
I don't think
I think he'll quit.
Then again, he did get turned off by Stefan Struve, but he was young. And I mean,
I think DC.
I feel like DC, he's got the wrestling because obviously Olympics beat you just savage college wrestler.
Yep.
But I don't think he's faced a guy like Stipe before that has the wrestling, the striking, the knockout power from wide variety of angles, the intense IQ that he brings. Let's be real. In this last fight, Ngannou was supposed to knock his head off, and he caught him a couple of times.
Wait. Who said that? Who said Ngannou was supposed to knock Miocic's head
Dana
off?
wanted it to happen. The fans wanted it to happen.
UFC wanted it
obviously,
to happen,
us,
but-
we knew that wasn't going to happen.
I don't think Dana wanted it to happen.
I think he did.
No.
I don't know.
It's still-
he was building him up.
In the words of Childish Gambino, this is America.
But he stole that song.
That's not the
let's
point.
not go there.
That's not the point. That's just not the point.
Well,
Fake news.
you went
That's
there.
not the
You
point.
went there.
Let's not go
But
there.
it's just not the point.
That's not the point.
What is the point? The point is, if you're going to sell a fight, you're going to sell the guy who kind of speaks English, or you're going to sell the firefighter from
Northeast Ohio.
Right, but they didn't put that backing behind him until after he won that fight. Then all of a sudden he gets a Modelo commercial.
So,
Right.
so wait.
Even he said,
time out,
even
time out.
with the fight against
Brane,
Overeem.
let me stop you right there. So you think that the Modelo commercial had to do with the UFC? Because it didn't.
You
The
guys
company-
just said it's the official sponsor of the UFC when
yes,
I said
but
he's
the
got
company decides who pushes their
right.
brand.
And as soon as I said he's the only guy that got to have a Mexican beer sponsor and not be Mexican, and all three of y'all went, but it's the official sponsor of the UFC. And now you're saying the UFC has no decision making.
I never said who chose and who didn't, man. Are you listening? Are you serious right now?
I am an official listener.
People. Listen,
I have a
people.
certificate to prove it.
Listen, people. Listen, people.
I was a hall monitor. This was meant to be.
Companies choose who push their brand.
Right.
Not the NBA. Not the UFC.
Did they push?
Not the NFL.
Did they
It
push
is
him before the
company
fight?
themselves. Are you serious right now,
Did
man?
that commercial come out right after that fight?
See, this is
That's
what
why
I'm talking
our-
about.
That's why our
see how he
official sponsor
see how he
chose us.
answered me in Spanish?
Vegan
See.
You see this madness. You see this silliness. See, this is what I'm talking about, man. It is my job
Midnight
to
madness.
infuse. It is
Don't
my job
give
to
it to
infuse
you.
sanity in this show.
Good luck.
I got Miocic 4th round
By what? Knockout?
TKO.
Interesting. You think he's going to out wrestle the fat
No,
man?
I think I did put decision. I don't know.
Okay.
No, I think I just put 4th round.
Here's the interesting thing about this fight to me.
I love you, DC. I do.
Stipe Miocic, for those who do not know, is a former Gold Gloves boxer at the heavyweight division.
Yes.
Which is no small feat.
Especially not in the Northeast division.
Right. And also, he is also a former All-American wrestler.
Yes.
Daniel Cormier, an 4-time All-American wrestler at Oklahoma State, and an Olympian.
Yeah.
Did he
And
did
he's
he medal?
DC.
He did not medal, but he was also the 2008 captain of the Olympic wrestling team.
He's also from Louisiana, and that's kind of like a Golden Glove.
And he's DC. Come on.
You gotta have
He's like the
hands.
human. He's like the
DC over
human
the
silver
course of
medal.
his time has really upped his striking game.
Yes.
And you have seen the change in his boxing.
Yes. Thank you.
Where Cormier is interesting to me is now you're talking about going back to Cormier pre-2014 where he didn't have to cut weight and his gas tank was endless as a heavyweight.
When he used to flop around heavyweights. Just
And he
Yeah.
would throw
Pick up
heavyweights
three times
around
his size.
Gigantic
And
Antonio Bigfoot Silver heavyweights at
Yes.
that.
and throw them like a sack
they were
of potatoes.
nothing.
yeah,
Yeah.
like a pillow. Just
Yeah.
Josh Barnett too.
DC is
Who
built
can
for
wrestle?
this, though.
Who can grapple? Barnett is scary.
And he
And he's got
dominated.
catch wrestling too.
Dominated
Dude.
Barrett. Dominated him. What makes this fight interesting to me is the fact that Daniel Cormier, his entire career, has had to deal with guys who have longer reach than him.
Yep.
So this is
Thank
no
you.
stranger to him.
Yes.
And the key for Miocic to win this fight is to catch Daniel Cormier at the end of his jab. He has to make sure that Cormier cannot get inside.
That's going to be
And let's be honest. What fighter, heavyweight or light heavyweight, has ever kept Cormier from not getting inside?
Not even Bones could do it.
Has Stipe ever fought a wrestler
Of this caliber?
of this
No.
caliber?
No.
At
No.
heavyweight?
Not at all.
Nope.
He is. I'm at no time do I want to try to sound like I am pulling away from the story that is Stipe. Everything
And
he's great.
And to that point, Cormier has never faced a boxer
Right.
like Stipe Miocic either.
With
Right.
the wrestling
So,
skill and
okay.
Now,
Alexander
what'd you say?
Gustafsson.
Right, but even then, he's not.
Well,
Alexander
Gustafsson-
Gustafsson
he
was
can
also
wrestle.
a Gold Glove winner.
Yeah, but
he can wrestle, but
Hey,
he
as
doesn't
far
have
as
the
hands-
wrestling credentials that Steve
Also,
has.
I
Question, though.
There-
What are
there's
you
the
talking?
X factor.
Wait, who? You talking about
Gus.
Gustafsson?
Yeah.
Well, I was just talking about boxing skill.
Yeah,
I
no, but
wasn't talking about
what I'm saying is that he hasn't faced a boxer, especially with the wrestling abilities that Stipe brings as well.
That is true.
And there's an X factor. Cormier's ability to absorb damage, especially with headshots, is
It's
second
tremendous.
to none.
Yes.
I've often joked. I think his head
He
is
has a boulder
Made
for
of
a head.
granite.
No, adamantanium and vibranium hybrid.
Oh, adamantium. Gotcha.
He has. I mean, we've seen him take a power shot from Rumble twice
Yes.
and
Yep.
slough it off.
Like it was nothing.
Nobody has done that before.
Yep.
Everybody's been hit with those shots, went and moved to a new country, and then woke up.
Yeah. I mean, this fight is going to be interesting.
We'll even say when he took the kick from Bones, it didn't kill him; it stunned him.
Right.
Where anybody else who would have got caught with that,
Their whole head would have flew out
out of the ring.
of the whole thing.
I mean, I try to erase that from my memory because that kick came from a cheater. Anyway,
Cocaine is hell of a drug.
listen. This fight is going to be one for the ages, either way you slice it. I am going to take Cormier to win this and solidify his place
Yeah.
in mixed martial arts lore. I am going to take Cormier to win this in a dominating
Yes.
50-45 decision.
Yes. I agree. I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed in Stipe after this fight. Even as great as Stipe is, I think DC is just way too much.
I mean, it's hard. It would be
Way
hard.
too much.
It would be hard for me to be disappointed in Stipe Miocic. We're talking about a guy that defended the belt 5 times?
He already broke a record.
No,
At heavyweight, it would be really hard for me to be disappointed.
No, and I'm not saying us necessarily disappointed. I'm just saying his
think he's gonna
fans.
win.
Because his fans are definitely like, oh, You got to think his fans are like, oh, DC smaller guy. They're completely counting DC out, not even thinking about what DC is bringing to the table. A lot of Stipe's fans are going to think like that, and those are the ones that are going to be extremely disappointed. I'm not going to be disappointed in Stipe. I salute him for even taking this fight because I think that he was taking a fight knowing that he's going up a hill that's going to be hard to climb.
But I mean, in oftentimes, right? And this is what separates the average person from the great athlete. You chase greatness.
Yep. And that's why
and you
I'm proud
chase
of him.
greatness by taking on
fights like
these
this.
type of fights,
Exactly.
these type of challenges.
Yep.
This is how you chase greatness.
Yes, sir.
So hats off to both men.
Yes, sir.
That are gonna walk in this octagon
and make history.
Because this is a tough fight for both
We're
of them.
talking about chasing greatness.
Yep. I salute both
And
of
that
them.
is not easy to do. For those of us, we all have had that dream, and some of us have said, you know what? Either you're gonna get up and go and get it, or you're not. And a lot of us don't.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest. And we're talking about chasing greatness.
Yep.
There is nothing more difficult in life, in my opinion, than chasing greatness. Because regardless of what your opponent is going to be or who your opponent is, your biggest opponent is always yourself.
Always.
You
Yep.
ever chased a chicken?
Actually, I just chased some. I chased some
You know what
roosters
is
in
even harder
Portugal.
than that?
What's that?
Chasing the cat.
Chasing the 40 bus in the 90s. Ladies and gentlemen, we're Cage Against the Machine. This was our UFC 226 podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. I am the SweetMBA. I am joined by
The evil doctor, J.K. Akins.
as well as
MikeyMoTheMC.
and
The brain damaged one.
everything you are hearing, seeing, and experiencing is recorded for you by DeShawn Davis at Dreamier Productions. We are a premiere show on the Dream Podcast Network. And as usual, we'll be back, but not before Dr. J.K. Akins tells you,
Chill!